You're listening to Infinite TBR, the podcast where we try not to buy more books. I'm Smack.
And I'm Gabby. Spoiler alert! We're going to avoid major spoilers, and when we can, warn when we're going to discuss a particular book in detail so you can avoid that part of the episode. You can also check the show notes for time-stamped flags identifying potential spoilers.
Welcome to part 3 of the Mysterious Galaxy Summer Bingo something.
Yeah, PvP one
Showdown
one thing.
Throwdown.
Yeah. Whatever we're
Fight.
calling it.
So yes, this is the magical halfway point.
It's, like, we end up, like, half of this entire podcast ever is, like, Mysterious Galaxy Bingo recaps.
And it's gonna get worse because we learned today that they have a year-long challenge, a reading challenge at 2023.
52 books.
52? I thought it was 50.
No, you're right, it's 50.
Oh,
Oh, is that all?
And it's like 25, anyone can do these, and 25, good luck.
Yeah. One of these is roll an 8-sided die and find a book with that many words in the title.
Can you imagine getting 8?
No! I'd keep rolling.
Let the mountains be my... Oh, great, almost.
That's 7.
6.
6? Okay, yeah.
Close. Now I'm like looking at all the ones on
I
here.
would think about it, but I would probably re-roll.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're a cheater.
I am a cheater.
I would not cheat, I would just find one.
A book with a Spotify playlist. How do you know that until you get to the end and the author is like, here's my playlist that I made while I was writing this thing.
Does it have to be their playlist?
No,
Or
just a spot. Oh, I guess
What
you
if
could
it's
go
like
on
book talk
Spotify
and you could like look for it?
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't know that was so much a thing that you
But
could make a
some of
challenge out
these,
of it.
some of these, like, one of them is a book that surprised you.
Oh.
You have to read it to find out if it
Bummer.
surprises you.
And that's harder with us where we're swapping books all the time because you guys will warn us if there's anything to be surprised about.
We don't like being surprised. That's not true.
There's some
I have been
surprises
talking
in-
about the Absolute book
Yes.
for months, and it was a big surprise.
I'm sure that is full of surprises. I
I
know.
finished it in January. That's my book that surprised me. Just one down.
Are you just gonna pull from all 50, or are you gonna try and do like the 25 and then the 25?
No, I'll just pull from all 50.
Okay, nice.
25 is too limiting.
Nice.
Oh no, a book with zombies. I hate zombies. Usually.
Yeah, I feel like we could find one that you'd like.
Are there
I feel like there's enough
undead
flexibility
people
there,
in...
right? There are undead things in grave. Surely there are zombies in grave practice.
Grave Practice. There are mummies. I don't think there are zombies.
No.
Yeah, they do. Grave Practice by Vivian Shaw. It's Strange Practice. Is the
Strange
first one.
practice. Grave Importance is
Grave
one of
Importance
them.
and I don't know. It's a trilogy that's like loosely connected. Like it clearly goes 1 and 1 and 1, but like it's not like
Yeah, you've said something like that before.
yeah, it's not like a traditional like overarching like you can't. Anyway.
Anyway.
They have like the sort of the 30s silent film.
Heart and Mercy.
Are there's zombies in Heart and Mercy by
The what of Heart and Mercy? The whole title is
The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy.
Yes,
and I can't
by
remember.
Megan Dennard? No, I'm thinking of Susan Dennard. Megan something.
Megan. I want to say Megan Shaw, but that was
No.
definitely
Crossing all of our wires.
I know.
Right now.
Do you know what?
Hmm.
My phone, if I write the next word that shows up is Undertaking. Megan Bannon.
Bannon.
Bannen.
So good.
Yeah. I bought that for Gabby's Christmas present, and we went on a reading retreat, and she read this 400-page book in like 2 days.
It was delightful.
She whipped through it so much faster than I was expecting. I knew you'd like it, but I was like shocked.
It's so good.
It is really good.
It's like You've Got Mail, except in a fantasy world with
A
zombies.
fantasy water world?
Yeah,
with
fantasy-
zombies?
Unclear what that world building exactly is. It seems like
I-
they're Kelpies and they ride around on
I think they're
Kelpies.
writing Kelpies, but writing Kelpies is really dangerous.
Yes. Don't try this at home.
And there's cars, but I think they're all boats.
Right? Like, sometimes I would think that was the setup, and then they'd say something, and I was like, that can't work if these are boats. And then they'd say something else, and I was like, well, this only works if they're boats.
There's this... Okay, so backstory on this one is that I started reading it when I was sort of sick, and so, like, I knew I wasn't catching everything. And then I put it down, and then I went back to it when I was not sick, and I was reading, and I was like, they're on a boardwalk, but she's walking uphill? You can't have uphill on a boardwalk.
Yeah.
So I put it back down, and I was like, I will start this book over in a little while. I haven't yet, but now I will!
And for what is presumably a water world, I don't think anyone ever, like, fell in the water, which seems like something that would eventually happen.
And they don't seem to be, like, wet?
No.
There's no, like, spray?
There's no, like, unsteadiness. So, unclear, but...
It's weird world building, but I did enjoy that it wasn't super clear.
Yeah.
Except for stuff, like, going uphill on a boardwalk.
Yeah.
That's not, like, a floating boardwalk.
Right. Shrug.
That one image is where I was like...
So then I was thinking...
I should start over.
Maybe they're, like, islands that are connected by...
I think there is some of that.
And there was, like, the scene where he, like, went off and was, like, visiting a different place, and it made it sound like he was on a highway, but then he, like, went off the highway with his boat to, like, go sit in the middle of nowhere. So I was thinking maybe they're, like, highways in the sense that they're, like, designated corridors, but you can theoretically...
The quote-unquote highways, I'm pretty sure those are water. Because he was going...
Like canals.
But, like...
Maybe it's, like, a whole Amsterdam situation, and they're just canals.
I thought it sounded like it was ocean, like deep water.
Yeah.
But, like, if that's the... I don't know.
Anyway.
I'm going to have to reread it.
Yeah, let me know what you think when you reread it. Anyway, we highly recommend. Zombies. Regardless, there's zombies. So, it's romantic, it's family issues, it's very cute, very fun.
Yeah. And
so there you go, zombies, done.
And I will say the Mysterious Galaxy year challenge is very cute. They've got this thing, the PDF that you print out, and it's 2 sides and you fold them together and then you have a bookmark for the year.
They also would normally have the bookmarks in the store. They were just out when I went today. So.
Oh, they had them like flat out?
Yeah.
Oh, I want one of those.
I thought you grasped that when...
Well, I thought so, and then I was like, well...
Yeah, my plan is fully just to wait until they have more of them and then go get whatever. I can get you one.
I'm going to have a spreadsheet. I'm going to have at least one bookmark.
There's a spreadsheet coming. And then I'll be trapped in Do
you know? I was like explaining how we quantify reading and titles and like how I'm applying it to like even when I'm writing. I have a spreadsheet of how many words are in each scene. And I have never done this before, but it's very helpful and calming.
Okay.
Because then you can sort of be like, oh,
spreadsheets are always calming.
Like, I never thought so. But you welcome to the dark. And I just about bowled my mother over the other day when she was like looking over my shoulder and she was like, "Are you writing?" And I was like, "Yes, I have a spreadsheet for my creative writing." It is actually super helpful though. Yay. Because I can sort of judge which scenes are like over long.
Yeah. How balanced everything is. That makes sense.
That's very helpful. Anyway, so part 3?
Oh yeah, part 3! Of we don't know how many, but we have half of them left to go, so we'll see how quickly this happens.
Yeah, so this, I don't know. We'll work it out.
We'll find out.
Okay.
1, 2, 3,
go?
1, 2, 3, go! Spell on Wheels Volume 2 by Kate Leth et al.
Should we recap how this works?
No.
This is part 3. If you don't know what's going on, go listen to another.
No! Okay.
Okay, so bye!
Very briefly, we wrote out all the titles that each of us read for the summer bingo, and then we cut them up on little pieces of paper and swapped titles, and we're each drawing titles from the pile... Oh, God.
that belong to the other person.
Yeah, the titles that the other person read, and then we each pick one, and then we have to fight about which title was better.
So Smack read Spell on Wheels Volume 2 by Kate Leth et al. For one of the bingo spots, whereas I read...
Hyperbole and a Half by Allie Brosh.
With an R, yeah.
I can't see that far.
You win.
Yay!
Which volume was that one?
2.
2.
Which you didn't like as much as the first one.
Hyperbole and a Half is just so good, though.
Because of the dog.
The dog story? That was the first time. Hyperbole and a Half was online, like, when we were, like, 10, 15 years ago. And that was the first time I'd ever heard about putting little booties on a dog. And it turns out they all react about the same. As in, they don't know how to walk. And sometimes they just don't even try.
All of her stories are just so
also
relatable.
The one where she's 6 and she steals her own birthday cake.
Yeah. And then just like sugar rushes to an insane level. It's just amazing.
I freaking loved those stories. Okay,
so delightful. And Stall on Wheels, the antagonist for that one, was kind of a like very cool, but like kind of a bummer.
It was like
darker.
Yes, it was darker than Volume 1. I think that was, which was fine. It was a good story, and I will reread that if and when the next one comes out. But Hyperbole and a Half is just
so great.
Okay, next. An Elderly Lady Shall Not Be Crossed by Helen Tursten.
This book is gay by Juno Dawson.
I don't know. I liked it, but it was more like a sex ed primer that I wish I'd gotten in high school.
Oh.
Because it covers, like, everything. At the very least, I should have gotten it in college.
Nice. Yeah.
And it's illustrated. That was my illustrated bingo spot.
Nice.
Yes.
That was probably my... Well, I guess there was a graphic novel slot, too, so I don't know what Hyperbole and a Half was for.
You counted a graphic novel for an... Oh, God. That counts. It makes sense.
No, I think Hyperbole and a Half I probably did illustrated, and then I have Heartstoppers, and those would have been graphic novels.
Okay.
Anyway.
Shall Not Be Crossed.
Elderly Lady Shall Not Be Crossed is the second in, like, this duology that Helene Tursten wrote. I think the
original
first
one is called
An Elderly Lady is Up to No Good.
And it's an adorable little book.
It's tiny. However big you're imagining, it's small.
I think it's smaller than my hand from wrist to the tip of my fingers.
Probably, yeah. It's itty bitty. So very cute, excellent title. We did this for our book club with Laura, number one fan Laura, and
others.
Our other two high school friends. And I think our consensus was that it's a series of short stories about this like 88-year-old woman who murders people for various reasons. Like, but
I remember you were saying they weren't like very good reasons.
So it just didn't live up to the humorous prompt, I guess. Because like it sounds like it's gonna be like more amusing and charming, and it ended up being more like you didn't always empathize with her reasons for doing it, and it wasn't as much fun because at some points it almost did this where the whole idea was supposed to be like, I'm a little old lady and I don't even know what's going on, and like totally below suspicion, above suspicion, but
below
mostly
the radar, above suspicion.
Yes, thank you. But mostly it was just kind of like you didn't particularly like her, and
that's disappointing.
She wasn't super relatable, and it's not like she had a fun companion or anything like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Sometimes that helps balance it a bit.
The Dust Wife.
Yeah.
In Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher.
Yeah.
Who was a crotchety old woman.
Yeah. With a demon and a chicken.
With a demon and a chicken. How did it get there? In the usual way a demon gets into a chicken. Obviously.
Stop asking stupid questions.
I love that book so much.
So good.
So, who do you think won?
Well, I mean, if you actually got value or can imagine getting value out of this book as gay, I would say you won.
I would hand it to every... I should not hand it to every high schooler. Right.
Everyone who walks in your door to be tutored by your phone.
It was like, wait a minute, there are a lot of high schoolers, and some of their parents are... They would be in a bad place.
Ooh. Yikes.
Like the Brent.
Yep.
Look-alike.
Yep.
Sound-alike. Which I feel like I should elaborate on.
Sure.
The Brent sound-alike.
Why not? If
my
you
mother
haven't, go watch The Good Place. A.
Yes.
B.
So, in the last season of The Good Place, the main characters are supposed to, like, take people from the bad place and teach them how to be good enough to end up in the good place. And one of them...
I mean, that's not so much of a spoiler.
Right, yeah. Sure. One of them is named Brent.
Yes. And he sucks!
And he sucks so much. He's like a mansplainer. He wears khaki.
Plays golf.
He's a rich,
Racist,
sexist,
just
middle-aged pig. And one of the fathers of this kid my mom tutors says some interesting things when he's over, and he likes to talk, so sometimes he says a lot of interesting things.
Yikes.
All very yikes. So I like sit in the kitchen and make these terrible faces.
You do the equivalent of Loki whiny.
Except I am very, very quiet. I cannot. Like last year, before the school year let out, he went on some tangent about how they're not teaching AP European Civilization in the high school anymore. They're teaching AP World History. And then he made some
I thought those were different courses
They
anyway.
are different courses, but like, I don't know. I don't know the deal. But like,
they got rid of.
Yeah, so sophomores are not taking European Civilization. They are taking World History, where they have to... I know, right? Where they have to, like, learn about Asia and Africa. And he was like...
Anything
he said
not
something, and he said it in this weird, like...
Oh dear.
Yeah. Oh, it was rough. I kept quiet. But, like, some of these parents are just...
Yikes.
Super yikes. So anyway, we call him Brent.
Right. For that reason.
And I genuinely could not tell you either his real name or his kids' real names. Just as well.
Yes.
Oh, God. Okay,
So
anyway.
sneak a copy of this book is gay to everyone. But
yeah. But, like, past Brent. His kids are cool.
literally sneak.
Yes.
Somehow sneak it to them.
Like, throw it in her backpack and send her on
Wink.
her way. Yeah.
How did that get there?
Anyway.
Next.
Do this one.
Aw, you win.
Light
from Uncommon Stars by Rika Yoki.
And this one is Heartstopper 2 by Alice
Osman or Osman?
I can't read your handwriting.
It's either
Okay.
Osman or Osman.
Okay.
I just don't know how to say it.
Oh, there's no R in there.
It's Oseman.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
I really scrawled those.
What is Heartstopper? I can't even remember.
Heartstopper is the, like, super cute gay graphic novel about these high schoolers in the UK, somewhere in the UK. So it's, like, really British and really adorable. And they made a Netflix TV show of it. And so cute. The graphic novels, in some ways, I've only seen the first couple episodes of the TV show, and in some ways the TV show is more enjoyable than the graphic novels because the graphic novels very much focus on the two male leads and their relationship. So you don't get as much of the complex diversity and interesting backgrounds of the side characters until like volume 3 or 4. Yeah. And there is, like, a really awesome trans character who moves from because it's, like, boys' school and a girls' school. And so she moves from the boys' school to the girls' school and she transitions. And so there's, like, that whole thing going on. And, like, is best friends with one of the other, that MC's best friend. So they're, like, a group of friends. And they have, like, the slow burn romance going on in the background. And it's more in the background in the books than it is in the TV show.
Okay.
And so in the TV show, you get more of the, like, boys' school versus girls' school, like, dynamics, which is kind of fun. And her making new friends at the girls' school. And so that's like, cute. Way more fun. But even the graphic novels are just adorable nonsense. If you just need some adorable gay nonsense, that's what these are. Okay. And then, like, sometime where in, like, volume 3 or volume 4 it starts exploring, like, some darker teen themes, like mental illness and
less adorable nonsense,
like self-harm type. And then there's still, like, in the context of, like, they have their support groups, right? They have, for the most part, really good families. There's some, like, family tension about, like, different topics. Like, one of their brothers really sucks. But in general, there's, like, a lot of family support there. And so it's, like, as warm-hearted as you can be about those themes.
Okay.
But yeah. So yeah, that's Heartstopper. But Life from Uncommon Stars is...
We've talked about that before, right?
Yes.
It was quite good.
So beautiful.
That was another weird one with, like, devils and violets.
Yeah.
And...
Yep.
I like the weird ones, man.
Yes, you do.
Sure do. Not Your Average Hot Guy by Gwenda Bond.
Ooh. Miss Marvel, Volume 1 by G. Wilson.
I mean, we've both... I know, we've both read both.
I haven't read Miss Marvel.
You haven't read Miss Marvel?
I have it, but I haven't read it yet.
What?
I know.
I am shocked you have not read Miss Marvel.
I know.
I am shocked.
I think.
Yes, you have.
No, I haven't.
No?
I was going to because it was on a Sirens list at one point.
Yes, it was.
But I don't think I did.
You own it, though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I definitely own it.
You should get on that.
I should.
It takes like an hour.
I know. It's a grind.
It's really good.
But it's one I own. So you see.
I think I'm going to go with Miss Marvel.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I liked them both, but like Miss Marvel has this.
Oh, right. Not Your Average Hot Guy is the first one, anyway.
Right.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, yeah, you're the only one in the position to make this call, so I trust you.
Well, I mean, it's Not Your Average Hot Guy is really like
they're very different.
They're massively different. But like Miss Marvel has this undercurrent of complexity.
Should we talk about these? I don't know. Have we talked about Not Your Average Hot Guy by Gwenda Bond?
Possibly. Recap would be this girl is running her family's escape room, and some occultists come in and kidnap her and steal one of her props that turns out to be an actual like demon summoning grimoire. And the occultists accidentally summon Lucifer's son, who's like a giant screw up in every aspect. And so they run around trying to stop the occultists from ending the world.
Yay!
It's adorable.
It's hilarious.
It is really funny.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Did you see she's coming out with another book called Mr. and Mrs. Witch?
I did! And the cover is the same as the Mr. and Mrs. Smith poster. And I love it so much. Even though it makes me so sad now, because Brad Pitt is an abuser. Did you read about that?
No.
He went to town on... And, like, one of their kids tried to, like, get involved, and he, like, shoved him, hit him, like... And they were on a plane, so there was no way to, like, get away.
Oh, no.
I know, he's a terrible person! It makes
Was it like a private plane? Because
yeah,
usually
I
was going to say, usually that kind of behavior doesn't end up in a public setting, so
No.
that's nuts, but...
Well, I mean, it was Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, so obviously they have their own plane. But, like, oh, God, it's very disappointing.
I hate learning about people.
I know.
Ruins everything.
It ruins everything. Anyway. So, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, that's such a fun movie.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait for them to be witches.
I know. It's going to be so much better.
It's going to be great. Oh my god. Okay, so I forgot what we were doing.
All right.
Yeah.
You were... Oh, and so Miss Marvel is about...
Miss Marvel is about this...
They're making a show?
They've already made a...
Oh.
Yeah, it's on
Movie?
Disney Plus.
That's
it's a
right.
show.
Yeah.
And the show looks really good. But Miss Marvel is a Muslim American teenager in Brooklyn. And
Sorry, Laura just finished The World We Make, so... Brooklyn in my head is a character, so
okay.
I'm like...
So you just got lost in a whole other fictional world. Okay. So, and she wants to be, like, cool and go to parties, and her parents are understandably strict and don't want her going out with upperclassmen who drink and, like, are frat boy type people. But she is determined to be cool, so she sneaks out and goes to this party, and then there's some Marvel stuff that happens, and then she gets powers. This is a Marvel graphic novel.
The Marvel
I feel like we
arc.
should have started with that. So, her favorite superhero is Captain Marvel, and so she, like, adopts this whole, like, persona that's sort of Captain Marvel adjacent.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you...
Right. And
mean
so, like,
about
the
the
first thing
layers.
she does is... Like, she can't control her powers, right? So she goes, I wish I was Captain Marvel. And then she gets powers. And then some of these powers is, like, shape-changing.
Uh-huh.
So she turns into this blonde bombshell with the Captain Marvel clothing.
Yeah.
And is like, how do I change back?
Oh, no!
And then ends up saving one of the, like, two cool assholes from her school. And then sort of changing back to the point where, like, she's clearly not Captain Marvel, but, like, she also clearly has superpowers. So who is this person? And it's this whole... She is so wonderful. and relatable. This poor kid. High school sucks so much.
It sure can.
Especially when she's, like, she wears a hijab, I think. I don't have my copy anywhere nearby. I don't think she does. I don't know. It's been 6 months.
But there's that
there's this
generational tension there.
The tension between being true to like who she is at home, right? Like, and wanting to be like the
fit in as an American,
all-American, all-star thing, whatever. And she has friends who are looking out for her.
Oh,
I know, it's so nice.
Okay, fine.
And
fine.
I know. So like, there's this whole level of depth and stuff. Not Your Average Hot Guy is excellent popcorn fiction,
but it's not deep.
But it's popcorn fiction. And it's not like Miss Marvel is super deep anyway, but it's just got a little more complexity to it.
Sure.
Okay.
Sabotaged by CP Writer. Number 3.
Number 3, that was good. The Date from Hell by Gwenda Bond, which is the sequel to Not Your Average Hot Guy, which I haven't actually read yet.
I'm gonna say you haven't read it
I
yet.
have not gotten to that one.
I'm trying to remember what it's about. They're trying to go on a date.
That's the whole
I remember
story.
that. They're trying so hard to go on a date.
Then the world starts to end again.
Probably.
Yeah, something like that.
And they're trying to figure out who they want to be, both like within their relationship and as adults.
Young adults.
Yeah.
But not like YA, like actual adults who are not super old.
Yeah. And still like, you know, that the 20s thing where you're like unlearning everything you thought you had to be as an adult and learning what it actually takes to be an adult and trying to decide what you want to do long term. But anyway.
Was it better than the first?
I'd be better able to answer that question if I could remember more of what happened in the second book.
6 months is too long.
I want to say the first one was more fun, and then the second one was like a fun continuation, like you're enjoying yourself and you don't want like the vibes to end. So it like kept up the vibes, but I don't remember being like particularly more blown away.
I know
or disappointed.
Twitter, Gwenda Bond has said that she's like really proud of the second one.
Okay. I could see that. Like I said, there's more like exploration of
self.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, like, them growing as characters, like, I don't... See, that's the thing, is, like, I read them back to back, so I'm having trouble remembering...
you don't know which is which.
Which character growth things happened in which books, but I want to say most of their personal growth happens in the second book.
Yes.
And they really kind of carve out... I just don't remember what the main story arc was in the second book.
I know she got wings. Or she got, like, his wings or something.
Yeah.
Because Lucifer was just fucking shit up.
Yeah, Lucifer was... just being awful.
Surprise! Alright, what was the other one?
And I was like, what if I complicate things? Sabotage
by C.P. Writer. That is the third book in the Spiker series. They do not play volleyball. That is all Gabby can ever think of when I talk about these books. So Spiker means she can like reach into people's brains and hurt them and or kill them. And Sabotage, I think that was probably the best of the 3.
Whoa.
Don't be so sarcastic.
I wasn't.
Okay. I thought that was a very sarcastic.
No.
Quote. Okay.
Just surprised.
What happens in the third one? She gets...
You're having the same problem.
It's been 6 months.
Third one. It's been 6 months.
So she gets kidnapped and taken to these like government, not training camps. What's it called? Testing facilities on supernatural creatures.
Sure. Gross.
And I guess spiking for her is sort of like addictive and turns her like morally gray, whereas before she is like lawful good.
Ooh.
100%. And normally she tries really, really hard to resist that part of her, but it keeps her alive in the third book. Like, shit gets kind of dark, and she just makes hard choices and doesn't blink because she's in the throes of this addiction, which was very fascinating and exciting. And
sounds stressful.
It was sort of stressful. There was a fire witch. She's cool.
Okay.
Anyway, did you
I guess neither of us have read both of these.
I know. Did you love The Date from Hell?
I enjoyed it at least as much as the first one. I mean, I enjoyed reading them back to back, so...
Okay. So I'm gonna claim Whitner on this round.
Okay.
Okay. Very peaceably fight you for it.
That's how this whole thing is. fight is in quotation.
Alright, what's your next title?
The Incubus Job by Diana Farrow Francis.
And you have Killer Dreams by Iris Johansson.
Okay.
You did not like that one. Okay.
I didn't dislike. I'm trying to remember.
You made quite a
Okay,
face.
here's the deal. There are 2 books that are in here that were audiobooks that I think we found in my grandmother's condo when we were cleaning them up.
Oh, wow.
And they've sat in my car
Since 20...
for however long it's been.
18? 17?
And finally, I was like, I will sit here and I will listen to these, and then I can count them for summer bingo, and then I can donate them and be done with them. Neither of them are in genre for us.
Oh.
Killer Dreams was like I don't know if thriller's the right word, but like, it's like a evil corporation is trying to sell this drug that has something to do with like people who have night terrors or something like that. But like, they are also working on it. This has been a very long time, so I could be misremembering some of this. But if I remember correctly, there's also like this darker development side where they're developing a version that basically brainwashes you so you can be suggestive. When they are on it, and then they like get into this weird headspace and they'll do whatever you tell them to do. So the books start
zombies.
No, because they're alive.
Right.
It's just like a sleep thing. And so, like, while they're asleep, you suggest things, and then when they're awake, they'll do the thing.
Then they'll carry them out. Like, post-hypnotic suggestion.
Yeah, exactly. The book starts with her father. Well, they're, like, on this very adorable family outing to go fishing, and they're having this very precious, warm-hearted, like, father-daughter moment. And then out of nowhere, he pulls a gun and murders his, like, whole family. Commits suicide. But she survives. and she has a son who has night terrors.
Oh, who is also on this drug.
Who, I don't remember if he's on the drug, but she's digging into, because her dad was on it first, or I don't remember, but...
He must have been on it if he pulled a gun and shot everyone.
Oh yeah, so she's suspicious about that whole thing, but I don't remember how the drug is executed. But yeah, I think he probably had it and then it like skipped a generation, so now her son has it. So she's digging into
not the drug.
Yeah, exactly. So she's digging into, and she used to work for this company.
Oh, the company who makes it.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So she's digging into the company, and they're basically trying to write her off as this crazy, traumatized woman, doesn't know what she's talking about, and whatever. So she's trying to prove that they're evil, and then there's an assassin, or an ex-assassin, or something, who shows up, and for some reason ends up on her team. And then, so there's this whole side romance thing where they're going off to, I think of the 2 weird audiobooks I ended up reading, I like this one better than the other one. But it's still like, it's not my usual thing. It was very like, okay. And I think they probably blew up the facility at one point, which was very satisfying.
Glass onion.
Not as good as the Glass Onion. Not even close to as good as the Glass Onion. But in some ways it was interesting because the kid was there for a lot of it. So so it's weird to have like a single mother where the kid is also like an active character and is around for a lot of the story.
Yeah. It's like getting rid of the parents in a YA.
Yeah. So he's always just kind of like on the radar, like they have to account for him when they're doing their like going after the big bad. Like, do we bring him with us to keep him safe, or do we stash him somewhere to keep him safe? And so in some ways it was interesting, but it was not my usual fare, and I have no particular attachment to it. So tell me about the Incubus.
The Incubus Job by Diana Farrow Francis. There was very little incubus in it, which I was okay with.
But why are you called the Incubus Job if there's very little incubus?
Theoretically, the main character is a bounty hunter who works on her own, and she used to be part of this like hit squad.
Okay.
And eventually just couldn't take it and was so suicidal with having to, from this job, the trauma of like having to kill people.
Sure, yeah.
That she just up and vanished. She ghosted her BFF/lover and went out on her own and just broke contact with everybody from that old life.
Oh no.
I know. And then so the incubus job is there's an incubus at a magical hotel.
Not the Hotel California.
No. There's like this like forest and it's a magic hotel.
Okay.
It's like its own self-contained world.
Oh, okay.
And she gets hired by this hotel to suss out and citizens arrest sort of this incubus who's been like preying on the rich patrons, stealing from them and like generally causing a ruckus.
So she just ends up at this hotel and decides
Yeah, she's there to do a job, and then it turns out that the magic hotel has like a wizard in residence who's like bound to the hotel for the length of their contract, and they can't leave.
Voluntarily or not so voluntarily?
I mean, like, you voluntarily enter into this job.
Right.
Sort of like the military, I guess,
Okay.
except like the hospitality industry.
Same thing.
Yeah. And they have these, for the length of their contract, the wizard has this, I don't even know if wizard, like sort of like a mage.
Okay.
Less like wands and more like innate power.
Mm-hmm.
And so the contract gives you these extra powers as long as you're in the hotel. So she comes in to handle this thing that the wizard doesn't have time to do with all their other duties. So it turns out the wizard is her ex-partner, bound from the Hitman squad.
The ex-BFF?
Yes, the ex-BFF/lover.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I did read this one twice, because the first time I just blew through it. It's like this novella, it's very readable, it's lots of fun, it's a second chance romance, plus a demon. Plus like a really, like, sort of like alien demon who's not humanoid.
Is this the incubus? Or...
No, the incubus
Oh,
just sort of vanishes after the first half. Which is a weird name for the story, I think. But, like, I think she was going for, like, every book is a different, like, bounty hunting job.
Right.
And this one started as going after an incubus,
Right.
regardless of where it ended up.
Gotcha.
But, I mean, it was interesting craft-wise, because at the literal halfway mark in the story, it completely switched gears from these two people who are trying to work out these very old, very painful hurts to fighting a demon and almost dying multiple times.
Oh no!
Like there's some action in the first half, but the second half is completely action.
Interesting.
And very little emotional stuff.
Is this an ebook?
Yes. It's a self-published book. I think you can get it in paperback, but it would be much cheaper in the ebook form. Yeah. So it was, I really enjoyed it. I think I win this round.
You read it twice.
I did read it twice.
You win.
Yeah, the structure was very interesting to me once I slowed down to pay attention to it.
That sounds like something I would enjoy reading too. So.
Yes.
I don't know how much this intrigued you. I do not have high hopes for how this is going to turn out for me. Anywho. Next!
Servant Mage by Kate Elliott.
I win!
You do.
The Problem with Promises.
Oh my god, I hated that
Yay!
so much.
That's by Lee Evans?
Yes. That was my audiobook, and I freaking loved the voice actors. It was like a cast.
Okay, cool.
And it was, the voice actors were so good that I listened to 2 more books than I should have. And every time I look at...
series?
Yes. Every time I look at the title now, I have this wave of fury.
You reacted very quickly. What was wrong with it?
I don't.
What's the
it
premise?
was just
or
dumb.
okay,
plots, dumb stories.
it's unfortunate.
I know it's like a meme at this point, but like they had like glowing eyes for the werewolves and the fairies, and they were like the descriptions of these eyes. They're like colored spotlights.
Oh no.
Yeah, and there'd be this weird sound effect when they come on too.
Dum dum.
like an alien when they beam you up.
Right.
That kind of noise. It was so dumb. So dumb. But tell me about Servant Mage.
I think we've talked about Servant Mage.
Have we?
Bit.
Well, I haven't read it since
I
then.
talked about as much as I could talk about with you not having read it. But
That's
what did
probably
you
fair.
think?
I freaking loved it, man. It was so good.
So good.
It's so good.
It's hard to talk about, right?
I know, it is hard to talk about. It's basically the push and pull between monarchists and revolutionary forces after the revolutionaries have technically won.
Yeah.
And
the tropes.
Yes.
And all those fantasy tropes that have to do with either side.
Right.
The monarchists and the revolutionaries.
And really just like paying attention and digging into what would be more realistic with these tropes. And it was so good. And it's like 40,000 words. It's like right on the edge of like what makes a novella as opposed to a short novel.
Did I tell you that I remember seeing the cover and hearing the premise? This was when, like, right after I had read Unconquerable Sun, which is another one by her. And so I was like, Kate Elliott! And I saw that was coming out, and I was like, dragons! Because the cover has a dragon on it.
The cover is amazing.
I know.
The cover is just this gorgeous piece of art of like a dragon with the same sort of skin as one of those hairless cats.
Yeah.
And it's holding this glowing orb, and the eyes match the orb, and it's so cool looking.
So good.
Anyway, continue.
So I was really excited, but that's all you could see, like, before it came out, obviously, was this cover, and it was by Kate Elliott, and I was like, that's gonna be so great! And Unconquerable Sun is huge!
Yeah.
So I was like, a new series and dragons, meh. And then it came out, and it was on the shelf, and it's this
teeny tiny little book.
And I was like, no! And that's when, like, I don't know if it was right when, but it was in the window that we're all in the middle of now, where the novellas are all coming out in hardback, and not coming out
the disgusted expression you have right now.
But before I had learned that they are not coming out in paperback. So I was like, do I want to spend $20-something on a hardback novella?
I know.
That I may or may not like.
I do remember you were really torn about getting it.
Yes. But then I did, because I'm me.
It's worth it. It was amazing.
And it was so good. So it worked out
though.
fine, but I do wish it had been a nice big chunker.
Yeah,
But it was very good.
What was mine? Oh, yeah, you win.
Yeah, I win.
Okay.
I won.
Next one.
Okay.
An elderly lady is up to no good.
On Fire by Nancy Holder.
So, On Fire, Nancy Holder was one of my advisors for my MFA program.
No, does she listen to this podcast?
I don't think so.
Hi, you Nancy. Have to win this one.
She does. I mean, it's really interesting because it's a creative writing MFA. So obviously there's this component of like writing literature with capital L, but also like it's a popular fiction emphasis, which means like genre and commercial fiction and science fiction and fantasy. And so you'd have like Theodora Goss, who is a hardcore academic at Boston University and one of the smartest people I've ever met in my entire life. She's like mind-blowingly smart. And then you have people not on the other end of the spectrum, because Nancy is brilliant.
Right.
But like brilliant in a very like commercially shrewd kind of way.
Okay.
So she does novelizations. Yeah, so she did the Wonder Woman novelization. And On Fire is the novelization of like the first season, I think, of Teen Wolf.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, now I see the reaction you thought I had when this didn't come up.
I swear I thought we talked about this before.
This is ringing no bells for me. We've talked about Teen Wolf before a little bit, but I never watched Teen Wolf.
It wasn't very good.
That's what everyone says, but also it has such a huge fan
like
base.
An outsized, yeah.
And you and my friend Katie have both seen it.
Do you know, have I told you my story of watching Teen Wolf? I was home
so.
alone in this giant house.
Scary
for
house.
the first time since our family pet had died.
Oh, right.
And my parents were taking my brother up to like his first or second year of college, and I was home alone for several nights. And the first night, first of all, one of my deepest, like, I don't like deep water, I don't like spiders, and I am scared to death of like home invasions. Completely irrational stuff. But I was home alone.
I think the only one of those you could argue is maybe irrational is spiders. And even that's like, there are some dangerous spiders out there, so...
But like we live in a pretty great neighborhood.
Oh, well, yeah. I guess.
The likelihood of a home invasion is very small.
I guess.
So I was home alone, and all of these weird noises that I had always ascribed to the dog kept going. I was home alone, and the house was making these weird-ass noises. And the first night, I just drove myself insane. Oh, God. So the second night, when the sun started to go down, I opened a bottle of wine, I grabbed my little canister of pepper spray, and I sat in front of the TV and watched Teen Wolf until I was drunk.
Oh, poor baby.
And it was the best possible way I could have watched Teen Wolf. So I was home alone and drunk, so I didn't really care about, like, how good it was or was not. And I think I yelled at the TV without, like, noticing.
Sure.
Like a whole bottle of wine, Gabby.
Amazing.
Yep. This is
so on
early 20s smack coping mechanisms.
Successfully.
So I get to my MFA program, I find out Nancy has written the novelization for, I think it was the first season. And
that was it.
I mean, it was fine. It was slightly better than the show, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, because like she changed some stuff, and like it seemed like there might be another book, but I don't think that ever materialized.
Okay.
But like there was enough difference. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a reader over a TV watcher. Like I would not watch Teen Wolf again. You'd have to pay me to watch that shit. But like the book was fine. I didn't mind it at all. She was so cute because like I had to write an academic paper and I wrote mine on werewolves. So like obviously I bought Nancy's book. She was a great advisor. And I told her this story and she wrote in the front of, she signed it and she was like, "You're my favorite werewolf."
Aww.
She's such a sweet person.
So cute.
I know. So, I don't know. What was yours?
Mine's
An elderly is up to no good.
Okay. Yours sounds warmer.
Okay.
As much as I hate losing, as much as I'm losing right now.
You are losing, aren't you?
Yes.
What a loser.
Very badly. Burn. More Burning by Suzanne Wright.
Okay, you win this
Do
one.
I?
You do. You get Blackfish City by Sam
Yep.
Miller.
Yep.
Burn was dumb.
Was it?
Yeah.
What was it about?
Oh, it was Fated Mates Demon Edition in Vegas, and God, it was just so dumb.
Bummer.
It was dumb.
We've talked about Blackfish City before. It's amazing. It's like
Glows in the dark.
post-apocalyptic, glows in the dark.
The book glows in the dark.
Right. The premise is post-apocalyptic. The actual book glows in the dark.
That's the important part.
There's a killer whale and a polar bear and
some kind of bird, right? Some kind of eagle. Anyway, it's awesome. We've talked about it before.
Don't remember an eagle, but sure.
It really doesn't matter.
I don't remember. Okay.
Pick your next
I'll have
title.
to read it again. Among Thieves by M.J. Kuhn, which I think you talked about before.
Yes. The Rose and the Beast by Francesca Leah Block.
I win!
You win! Okay, we got 2 left.
Malice by Heather Walter.
Ooh, Heartstopper, Volume 1. Did you love Heartstopper?
I did.
So you win.
Okay.
Malice is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty from the Maleficent's point of view.
Right.
Except she's not called Maleficent because of Disney. So her name is Alice, and she's what's called a Dark Grace. There's this whole...
Her name is Alice with an A.
With a A-L-Y-C-E.
Oh, okay.
The cool version of spelling.
Right.
And so she's what's called a Dark Grace. There's this whole, like, the world building is really intricate, where there's traditional light fairies, light fae, live on the other side of these magic mountains, where you mine, like, this weird powder that gives you powers. And the human realm on the other side of the mountains, away from the fae, made some deal with them to win a war against the Dark Fae, who have been essentially wiped out, where some of the humans get what is called a grace, where they have a specialized magical talent where they can use their blood, which is gold, to, like, make various elixirs.
Mm.
And Alice is what they call a dark grace, because she's one of the few, like, remaining dark fae,
Mm-hmm.
but she's, like, a halfling. and everybody hates her and treats her horribly, and they call her Malice instead of Alice.
Oh, baby.
I know. And I just handed you the sequel.
Yes.
So I'm very interested to hear what you think about the first book.
Okay. And we talked about Heartstopper. It's just stinking cute.
Just cute. I can't remember which way we decided though.
Loser.
Okay. Last one.
Mr. Wrong Number by Lynn Painter.
The Second Time Around by Mary Higgins Clark.
Mm.
Oh, I win. Okay.
This is the other audiobook that
okay.
I was even more lukewarm about than
that's unfortunate.
Killer Dream. The Second Time Around by Mary Higgins Clark was about... What was it about? I don't remember. It was very short.
That's something.
Yes. So the torture didn't last long.
Oh, God. Did you finish it?
I did. Just, I gave it 2 stars. Suspense. This one was about someone who develops an anti-cancer vaccine and suddenly disappears, and his private plane is found crashed. And there's a lot of evidence saying that this guy, basically BS'd everything, and there wasn't really a vaccine, and he was just taking everyone's money, basically.
Fun fact, there is a cancer vaccine. It's called the HPV vaccine, and everyone should get one.
Yep.
I think
That's not cancer, though.
it prevents types of cervical
Oh,
cancer.
HPV, yeah,
Yes.
sorry.
What did you think I said?
I heard filtered through my brain to HIV vaccine, and there is an HIV vaccine, too. And then I was like, wait, that's not cancer. But yes, everyone should get the HPV vaccine.
Side note, PSA.
Yes. And then the main character is a columnist for the Wall Street Weekly, and she's basically investigating, whether or not he was really a bad dude. And she goes to, interview his... Oh, she's the stepsister of his wife, too. So she goes to interview the wife, who's, I don't know, she's rich and shady. I'm trying to remember how this even went down.
Clearly one for the books.
The wife asked the main character, Carly, to investigate and prove that she wasn't party to it, at least, so that she can keep her reputation and all that stuff. And so she investigates this whole vaccine, and you can tell that it can't have been that great, because I don't even remember what the deal was with the vaccine and whether he was evil or not.
That is very telling.
And my review said, to be fair, I don't read a lot in the genre, but I wasn't impressed. I didn't really care about anyone. The main character seemed to feel her way through the mystery on vibes alone. And then there was a sort of romantic subplot that was really random, and the ending was painfully convenient. But I don't remember what that ending was, so there we go.
So, okay. Well, I know we've talked about Mr. Wrong Number, at least briefly in the past. It's a contemporary romance. The main character is sort of a hot mess and ends up moving in with her brother. And who is the love interest? I think the love interest is her brother's best friend. And he's super successful and definitely not a hot mess at all.
So they're perfect.
Yeah, it was really cute, and it all worked out.
And you have a hard copy of that one.
Nope.
You did at one point?
Nope, it's an ebook.
You definitely did at one point?
Nope.
I remember
Nope. Nope.
Well.
I know, your birthday's not till May, even. You would like that one, though. It is adorable. Okay, so now we're going to count.
Even though we all know Smack won.
Easily. 2 years running!
Easily. Next time, I'm going to, actually read fun stuff. I need to remember for bingo that the goal is to win this game.
Do you think they'll even do bingo if they're doing a year-long thing?
Well, they're not doing... I guess I didn't check, but I don't think they're doing a prize or a checklist. I think it's just for fun. If you want to do the thing, here's a list.
See.
And they have a cute little stand of books out front that's if you're looking for a book that suits this one, here's one that's
a really good sales strategy,
right?
I have the winner list, right?
But I guess I didn't look to see if there is a prize or not.
That's an important part.
No, the important part's the spreadsheet.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 titles that you won. Let me count my winnings.
I was like, I forgot that I have the loser pile. And I was like, well, I got a lot of these.
5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Wow, you won
handily,
but actually, like, not by as wide a margin as I thought after that really rough bout.
Well, I mean,
So
it was
12 to
quite
9?
close last year, right? Like 1 or 2 titles.
Okay, well, congrats. I owe you a steak. What? You not remember that?
No, I remember that. Oh boy. And now I can finally recycle all these little papers that have been in the office.
Yay!
For months.
What are you gonna put in your Book of the Dead?
I don't know. I'll have to hide something wonderful. I got a prop recreation of the Book of the Dead from The Mummy, the movie, and it is delightful. I love it so much. The hinge on one side is not great, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's beautiful.
Doesn't matter. It's wonderful. I love it.
Depends on how often you have to open it.
Very rarely.
Exactly.
So,
and we'll have something every time we do this game.
it's true. That's true.
So here's hoping you're smack and you won yet again. Wait until next year.
Now I have like a title to defend. I mean, not an actual title, but I have a winning streak to defend.
Like a book.
What?
This has been another episode of Infinite TBR. You can find us on our Twitter at Infinite TBR.
And we are individually on Twitter as @WhatSmackSaid and @Gabalodon, which is like Megalodon, but Gab in the front of it. And you can find all our show notes at infinitetbr.com. If you have book recommendations for us or questions you want answered during the podcast, feel free to email us at itbrshelf@gmail.com.